They say that lightning never strikes the same place twice, but this isn't the case with the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. Virtuous and Bethesda have cooked with this remaster, which is closer to a full visual remake, but keeping all the things about the original that we love. So, should you get Oblivion remastered? Is it perfection? How many fun ways to get rid of the adoring fan can you find? Does the game still have the magic that made Oblivion so special? Find out the answers to these questions in the video, but before we get started, I thought we'd set a challenge for the channel. I said in previous videos we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Let's make it interesting. If the channel gets to 1,000 subscribers by the time I start university on September the 29th, I will get an Oblivion tattoo on my arm. So if you want to see that happen, subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more Elder Scrolls and Mass Effect videos. Oblivion Remastered's journey started in 2021 with a collaboration between Bethesda Game Studios and Virtuous. Bethesda said they wanted to remaster and not remake it, essentially updating the game for a modern day. However, it's my belief that this game is much closer to a remake than a remaster. With the game shadow dropping, and with over 4 million players so far, it's definitely been a success for Bethesda, and could possibly set a new precedent for how games are released in the future. However, I would say that one argument against would be everybody in the community knew the Oblivion remaster was real and likely coming soon. This generated a lot of hype for an already massive game, so this strategy when done right could work, but may not work as well for other games and franchises. The price was just right and less than what I thought it was going to be, for £50 for standard and £60 for the deluxe. So for me, that's bang on, especially at a time when certain companies are trying to charge £80 for a standard edition. The most important thing for me was that they didn't mess around too much with a great main story. As I said in the What the Oblivion remake needs to get right video, they need to add, not take away. And they've done this, they've kept the main story as it was, even adding a few new quests to the game in the deluxe edition. This is a positive for me, although the added quests are small, it shows Virtuous are at least willing to add quests to the game, which hopefully leads to further quest lines further down the line. Graphically, the game looks stunning, and each of the various cities looks so much better than the original. The character models for the NPCs, on the most part, look very good. Uriel Septim has eyebrows now, they look better, but with some goofiness of the original. However, there is some debate about the character models, especially regarding the Khajiit and Argonians. I personally like them, but some may disagree on this. They've updated weapon animations, some of them looking really good, especially for the dagger and its variation in stabbing motions. Third person is also improved, and does look better, however I personally don't use it that much. Oblivion Remastered also has the Clairvoyance spell from Skyrim, which essentially shows you the direction you need to go in to complete your objective. Whilst I personally don't use it that much, it's a good addition, especially for newer players who aren't used to the layouts of the cave, so if you get lost, use this spell and you should be able to get out the area you're in. The UI is streamlined and modernised. Whilst I was concerned about this prior to release, for me it's a good combination of old and new, making it a combination of Oblivion and Skyrim's overall. Whilst the UI overall is a net positive, there is a slight bug with the weapons icons, showing unarmed even with a weapon equipped. Another point of concern is how difficult it is to find the local map. It took me a good 30 minutes to find it because it isn't clearly stated, and then once you do find it, you cannot zoom into it, which is pretty poor. Whilst there are good changes, there are some bad. Specifically, difficulty needs tweaking, because at present, Adept is too easy and Expert is ridiculously difficult. Like on Adept, I can quite easily kill 6 enemies on one, but on Expert, more than one is just impossible. They've added different voice actors for different races, which adds more variety and better immersion in the game. This is good, because you're less likely to hear NPCs with the same voices talking to each other. However, the new voices aren't perfect. Some of the new voices sound strange. I'm not sure if it's poor voice acting, but some of them sound a bit off. Without a doubt, Oblivion Remastered retains all the charm from the original. It was important the remaster still felt like Oblivion. It keeps the janky Radiant AI, which leads to some hilarious conversation encounters with NPCs, hilariously because of the way that the game zooms in on an NPC when you speak to them. It can lead them to looking like they're doing things which are not PG, but this adds to the charm of Oblivion. Part of the famous Oblivion jank was being able to make the most horrendous monstrosities with the character creator, and this is taken to another level in Oblivion Remastered, where Reddit and YouTube are full of genuinely hilarious creations. Talking of the character creator, you can choose your character origin with 2 options for each race. These add a slight boost to some skills and a really good idea which I really hope to take through to Elder Scrolls 6. They also kept the original lockpicking and speech minigames. I do however feel that the lockpicking game is slightly more difficult. However, some creators that I have spoken to disagree and they feel it's about the same. Oblivion Remastered introduces Sprint, which is a good addition. However, the animation looks like the hero of Kvatch is trying to run into Area 51. There are some bugs, however, that are simply unacceptable. There are a significant number of visual bugs, including NPCs' legs going missing, NPCs' clothes going missing, taking an age to load the floor when entering a room, and for some reason, NPCs being bold at certain points. I'm not sure if this is intentional, but I'm 90.9% sure that they weren't bold in the original. Optimization and crashes have also been brought up, and it's definitely a problem. There is some stuttering. However, the people that are saying it's unplayable on a 14900K and a 4090 are talking complete nonsense. I have a 10400F and a 3060, okay, not top of the line, not complete potato either, and it's playable, and it's only crashed once. In addition to the visual bugs, there are a number of questline bugs that need fixing. In Kvatch, sometimes the guards won't activate to the next step of the quest in the courtyard. To get around this, just go and grab the Count Signet ring and then bring it back to them. And in the Thieves Guild, the forger sometimes won't give you the forged document even after waiting more than a day. This needs fixing. While some people prior to release were concerned about the colour scheme and it looking washed out, especially in the pre-release leaks, for me it's still very vibrant and colourful and still looks great overall. That being said, this is of course subjective and I can see why some may be disappointed with this. They kept the same amazing soundtrack from the original, which is and was amazing, and that opening score hooks you into the game. They've updated the levelling system for the better in Oblivion Remastered. Instead of the ridiculously overcomplicated system of Oblivion, you now get 12 points per level you can put into each of your various attributes. You can put up to 5 points into each attribute per level, apart from luck, which you can only put 1 in and this costs 4 attribute points. Scaling is a lot better compared to the original. The NPCs don't suddenly become damage sponges once you reach a higher level, and this gets no complaints from me. So what's next for Oblivion Remastered? The plan is quite obviously to continue working on this for some time yet. There is a suggestion chat on BETHESDA Discord. First priority for me is to sort out the optimization and quest bugs. Following on from that, I'd love them to release maybe a new story DLC in a similar vein of the Shivering Isles to further expand the story. This probably won't happen, but we can dream, can't we? And maybe, if not, just some smaller quest lines would be really good. This keeps players invested, and the important thing for me is remember quality, not quantity. Don't just add a bunch of small quests to the game which are fetch quests, because no one will like that and you'll ruin all the goodwill that we've got so far from the game. Overall, I strongly recommend Oblivion Remastered. It's a combination of old and new. It's a breath of fresh air for us Elder Scrolls fans which haven't had a new single player experience since 2011. Whilst not perfect, it gives me confidence in Bethesda again. Looking forward to the Elder Scrolls 6 after the last 2 disappointing games, with a poor to average experience with Starfield and a downright dreadful experience with Fallout 76. Overall, I give Oblivion Remastered a 9 out of 10. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, it helps the channel out a great deal, and stay tuned if you want me to get that tattoo. Leave your feedback in the comments. What do you think of Oblivion Remastered? Cheers guys, see you next time.